WNST basketball, football, free agency, soccer, hockey. We got all sorts of stuff going on, not to mention baseball around the corner of the World Baseball Classic. This guy has been wearing out his remote control all week, and I'm sure there was a UFC fight somewhere in there between brackets and free agency and the WNST tech service that he sponsors at Coons Ford Security Boulevard. We welcome Dennis Colatzos back onto the air. Dennis, it's going to be a crazy week around here between shoveling and then, shoveling the bracketology and filling out brackets and trying to win the local pool and trying to figure out this whole NFL free agency piece. At least I know one thing, Dennis. We sit around here and bitch about the Ravens all day. At least we're not the Redskins, and this was pointed out to us again this week, right? Be lucky you live in Baltimore, you don't live in Washington. There you go. How about that?
They're just a study in the dysfunction from the owner down, and they fired the general manager, and they got a disgruntled quarterback on a one-year contract again, and they bring in Terrell Pryor, another guy with red flags. I mean, I'm telling you, it is just one of the worst franchises in the NFL. And if I'm an NFL agent, my players just don't go there. Not if they want to have a nice career and play for a good organization. They're down there with the Browns, and I'm telling you, they're just a bad organization.
Well, Tom Boswell wrote in the Washington Post on Sunday, now's the time Redskin fans should give their hearts to the other local teams, right? And that's easy to do when, the Caps are playing well and the Nationals are playing well and the Terps are, everybody's into this thing. But here in Baltimore, we're always sort of teetering, right, on the edge of chaos around here at 8-8 and who's coming and who's going. Some thoughts for you on the last week as a Ravens fan, as a PSL guy, as a guy that loves the team. I realize there's not an unlimited amount of resources there. And to me, for the team to say, we're not going to let Brandon Williams go out the side door, I think that's a nice statement to make. Now, he obviously has to go out and play to a whole different level of a number. And I think for the team themselves this past week, I don't know, and Lucas pointed this out, they were 8-8 with Brandon Williams last year, so it doesn't feel like an upgrade, right? When you sign your own guy, this is part of that feeling you get when you do keep your star players around because you got to pay them market rate because somebody else is willing to pay them, right?
Yeah, I think it was a wonderful thing that they were able to retain Brandon Williams. Things looked bleak initially, and myself as a season ticket holder, I'm glad that Brandon Williams is coming back to the Ravens. He's a quality guy, a great guy. I've hung out with him a few times. I know you have as well. Great young man with his best football.
There have been very few guys better than him as people, just a likable dude that you want to be around. You want to be around him as a media member.
Yeah.
You want to be around him as a teammate. When you're a fan and you're around him, you want to be around him. And, for that, I cheer for Brandon. He gets the text from me, glad you're staying. You earned every penny of whatever you got because that's it is the NFL. It's not for long, right? I mean, we all kiss Torrey Smith goodbye. He's having this incredible basketball charity event he's doing here this week that we've been promoting as well. And, he had his opportunity 2 years ago. And we see that, there's two sides to this, from the team angle, from players that need other players to play well. And I think when you get a quality person around and that person can play the game and you want to keep them here, that's been one of the issues for the Ravens over the last 5 years. Is even the guys that they've drafted that have played well, the Pernell McPhees, the Art Jones, the Paul Krugers, we've had to say goodbye to some of those guys because of the cap. So, it's a good feeling, but it's a mixed emotion, right? Because now the draft becomes full circle and you got to say, well, how are we going to go out in 6 weeks and win the draft?
Yeah, but the other thing is, a lot of friends of mine said, Dennis, we need some pass rushers. Look, these are people who just don't know the NFL. If you don't stop the run, you don't have to worry about the pass rush because they will run the ball down your throat all day long. So they had to sign Brandon Williams. There's a big drop-off, after him. Michael Pierce, Timmy Jernigan, Carl Davis, Willie Henry. You've got to be kidding me. As you mentioned, they were 8-8 with Brandon Williams. I can't imagine them not having this cat clogging up that middle. The Ravens got better. When you retain that young talent, you get better. And also it sends a great message to the rest of the young players there that if you do what you're supposed to do, this team will make every effort to keep you. Now, they can't keep everybody. We saw some guys like Kyle Juszczyk and Rick Wagner get some really big contracts for what they've done. But it is what it is. But Brandon Williams coming back to the Ravens was phenomenal. Getting Tony Jefferson, I thought, was a big get. They missed out on Tony Jefferson, And so did everybody else back in 2013. I had a third down grade on the safety. He dropped out of the draft because he ran a 4.75 40. That's why I hate the combine. It's a love-hate thing because you get great players that just drop out of it because they just don't run fast enough or lift enough weight in the underwear Olympics. And these GMs, they forget about the tape, the game tape, and that's what separates these guys. So Tony Jefferson, getting him in here was another great get. And look, guys are getting paid left and right, and right now the Ravens are strong up the middle with Brandon Williams and Tony Jefferson and Eric Weddle and C.J. Mosley. And look, they'll address some needs in the draft. They have holes all over the place, but when you can re-sign one of your own like that, a big-time ball player, I'm more enthused right now, even before the draft, than I have it in a long time as a season ticket holder.
Well, you mentioned, guys out there, and then there's Lawrence guy goes off to New England.
Guy.
The world champion, thought enough of him, and another, classy guy, character guy, well-liked guy in that locker room. That'll be a loss for the Ravens. They'll have to pick up some slack there, and I know, they picked him up from San Diego a couple years ago, but these guys go and they get paid in other places where they have cap space and they have wants and needs, and they need good football players too. But I, really focused on the draft right now and where the Ravens are going to be. But this has been a wild, supermarket, right? I mean, it's literally 32-team supermarket here where, the guys are getting thrown off the side of the boat. The Browns are bringing in Osweiler. The Redskins are a mess. Some teams are throwing money around, and even the Browns throwing money around. Some guys don't even want their money, like Tony Jefferson. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of everything happening, but this has been a shake-up time. It's been a big week around the NFL, and these quarterbacks are still looking for seats. And for me, over the next 4 or 5 weeks, a lot of what sets up the draft is going to be these quarterbacks.
Oh, absolutely. We thought Tony Romo after a big name out there, and you have Denver and Houston positioning themselves to acquire him. And back to the Ravens, Danny Woodhead coming in on the heels of the Ken Dixon suspension. There's another good get. Some people may have scratched their heads. And still, with Ken Dixon missing the first 4 games now, I don't know, does running back become a priority in the draft for the Ravens? A lot of moving pieces, but very, very intriguing, Nestor, in terms of what they're going to do.
How do these guys fail these tests at this point?
I don't know. You've got to honestly, and the excuse that he didn't know what he was taking. You've got to be kidding. That is the worst excuse in the world.
The agents go through this. They go through this at the combine. They go through this at college. They go through this with, within the team. The team doesn't want Kenneth Dixon to get. Nobody wants anybody to get popped, especially if they're doing something that really isn't helping them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing it's going to do is get them thrown out of the league for 4 games and have guys like you and me talking about knuckleheads they are.
Yeah, just a very, very bad move. I've looked at about a dozen mock drafts today, Nestor, and the funny thing is, at number 16, everyone I've seen has a different player dropping to the frame from strong.
And it's not like the old days where there were only 3 or 4 mock drafts. There are hundreds of mock drafts out there.
But there's no consensus pick for the Ravens at number 16.
Well, for a lot of teams, Dan, right?
Really
all of them are really, most years, that top 5, that top 8, they at least the players get locked in, even if there are trades or teams coming. There's an identifiable ledge, right, from that top 4, 6, 8, whatever that blue chip number is. None of that's going on so far this year. It's been very, very strange, I think.
Yeah, very, very strange and very, very volatile. And they promised us to change before April 27th. It's going to change again. And the Ravens, Reuben Foster, the great inside linebacker from Alabama, had some kind of a run-in with some kind of an intern or nurse at the combine. They sent him home early, and the first thing I said, he's going to be a Raven because he's a top 10 talent. He's going to be there at 16, and I can see Andy turning in his card and having Foster pair up with Mosley to give themselves a terrific inside linebacker duo. But look, they can go offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, running back. It's going to be a good player, but at this point, it's way too early to tell who's going to be available for the Ravens.
I want to see a DB for me. If you're asking me what I want to see them do, maybe they don't get the right guy. If they get a rush, if they get someone to get after the quarterback, I'm okay with that. But they got to get somebody to get after the quarterback, or they need a DB. That's or both, quite frankly.
What about Sidney Jones, the Washington cornerback who tore his Achilles heel during his pro day? Unbelievable.
By the way, he was on a couple of mock drafts to go to the Ravens.
Yes, he was. I think Mel Kiper Jr. had him there. I had him there. But now to your point, I have Quincy Wilson, great cornerback out of Florida, looked real well at the combine, very big guy, very fluid. But like you, that's what I want to see opposite of Jimmy Smith this year. Quincy Wilson back there with Jimmy Smith and Tavon Young. It's going to be given a really, really good backfield with those two safeties. So back end is going to be very, very strong.
Dennis, have you brined the entire dealership over there for this pending Blizzard Mania thing happening here?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the core of the earth is too warm for this stuff to stick, and because we don't want to pick up shovels this time of the year. We hope it melts. We hope some rain comes in and washes it all away. And I've checked ahead. The 24th of this month we'll have 72-degree weather, but it's going to be cold for a while, Nestor. But I'm hoping this stuff doesn't stick.
Well, I'm hoping that the Maryland Terps aren't cold on Thursday down in Orlando. They'll be warm down there. Oh, this is not an easy draw, man. Like everybody for months and months talks about, well, I want them to be a 4-seed or a 5-seed or a 6. That's just a number. I mean, especially when you see Wisconsin as an 8-seed or whatever, right? It really does come down to who are you matching up with. And in Maryland's case, if they're going to see a team that has some size, which Xavier does, this is not a 6-11 kind of setup here. This is a troublemaking sort of first round, and if they get through and see Florida State, good for them. But this is a tall task to survive Thursday night. We go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on Thursday. That they're still in this tournament.
Yeah, I tell you what, they've got to play a lot better than they did against Northwestern, and it was pretty much a home game for the Terps, but Northwestern just kept going inside, and the Terps didn't have an answer. They got outplayed completely. They've got to show up a lot better Thursday if they have a shot to beat Xavier, for sure.
Yeah, I looked up at one point, and I'm like, how much was that run? Oh, 18-0. What?
I was crazy.
Like, I would, by the way, I was sitting courtside, and it didn't, the weirdest part about being that close to the game is that I had to keep cranking my neck up to see the scoreboard, because, you want to see who's got how many points, you want to see what the score is. I had it in my computer. I got to keep an eye on my computer because a couple errant basketballs. I had Walt Williams next to me, Dennis, so, he had some reach, and then he left me at halftime. So, believe me, when I get it, he's going to do the show this week. I'm going to be giving him an earful, so you'll definitely want to listen in for that. But I felt like I had some protection. I've never had a better seat for a Terps game, and I've never seen a more disappointing Dennis, down on the floor where I was, I literally was in the middle of the action down there. Everywhere I looked, floor to ceiling, except behind the baskets up in the corner, it was an absolute sea of red on Friday night. It was as passionate, as loud as you could have wanted it to be. It was a dream home game in a Big Ten, unlike they're not going to see for a long, long time unless they get the tournament back. It really left a bad taste in my mouth driving, up the Parkway late on Friday night, saying, "Man, that was just a turd." And now the next game they're going to play is going to be the biggest game of the year, and this is the turd that they laid going into that. I don't know what that means for Thursday. I just know. Once again, for the second year in a row, they played their best basketball in December and January so far.
Yeah, no question about it, but that was the most one-sided crowd I've ever seen or heard of at a conference tournament. How loud was it, Nestor, when they were up by 10 points?
It was electric. People were standing up and imploring others. It was almost like the whole place had a little student section feel to it, and there were not a lot of students there. These were adults who, on a Friday night, put everything down, came into the city by car, by train, by boat, however they got there. I was shocked to see it that full of Terps fans. I really was. And I thought that was a really good sign for the program that people care that much right now and believe that much. And I think that is the disappointing part for all the fans.
Yeah, they were just lacking that big inside presence, and we'll see what they can do, what Coach Turgeon can do to improve that going forward in the tournament.
Yeah, all right, man. We'll get some rest. How much shoveling are you going to do personally, or are you done with that?
No, I'm not done with that, man. You know what? I'm getting too old for that stuff, but you know what? I can't help it. I try to lead from the front, and I get out there with the guys and some girls, and we just all, it's manual labor. There's just no way around. There's like I tell my younger people, there's no app for that. You got to grab a shovel or snow broom and get out there.
Hey, man, you and me, let's make an app that shovels the sidewalk. If we can make an app that shovels the sidewalk, we'd have something here. Take that to Norway, and we'd make a lot of money.
It's not going to get done for you, that's for sure.
Dennis Kalatzis can be found out at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. Tell everybody you're going to be there after the storm, too, right?
I'm going to be there before, during, and after. Always online, available, www.coonsbaltimore4.com. Cell phone 410-218-0337. If you still need a 4x4, come out and see me. You'll be happy you did.
You got one of those little plow things going on out there to give to people, or no?
I got plow trucks. I got little plows. I got everything. I got enough salt because we haven't used salt this year. I've got mountains of salt, just like I'm sure the city and the state does. We just haven't used it this year. It's very, very nice.
I knew it was very serious when I pulled out of D.C. on Sunday afternoon, and my wife looked down on 295, New York Avenue, literally in D.C., and looked down. She's like, is that brine on the road already? and there was brine all the way up the Parkway, all the way up 95. So we are awaiting the white stuff here and awaiting basketball on Thursday as well. Dennis will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5. And, hey, man, you got pregame duty, right? I mean, you're going to be right in the middle of all the mess there on Thursdays. I'm looking forward to joining you then. I'm sure we'll talk a lot between now and then about Xavier, right?
You got it. No question about it.
There he goes, Dennis Kalatzis. You can find him out on the SSV at WNST on Twitter, as well as here on Thursday from 3 until 5. We will clear the snow out. Dennis, you might need a plow coming out Hart Road on Thursday. We'll see if the meltdown happens at some point. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault before, during, or after the storm. Just download the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear. The morning newspaper ships to your email inbox each and every morning. That is all brought to you by Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com. That's $10 a month anywhere you are. I know it's snow season, but it'll be bikini season soon, and we'll have you ready for that. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook Live, and we have space for the London trip. I want to remind everybody, we still got the London trip on sale. Nashville, Green Bay, Minnesota, Oakland, coming in a couple of weeks when the NFL schedule comes out. Head coach Barry Trotz will be with us next Monday night at Greenmount Station in Hampstead. We'll be swabbing for the Bone Marrow Registry for There Goes My Hero. Come on out, rock your red. Get ready for the Caps. Not the greatest road trip out to California, as we've been pointing out here all week, but we'll get it right when the team gets back here this week amidst these snowflakes. Bring the Canadian weather with them instead of that California weather. You can find me anytime, anywhere, nasty at WNST.net. We're also streaming on Facebook Live as well as on our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.